The Imperial TIE Fighter is one of the most iconic ships in all of Star Wars. Fans are likely familiar with the variants like the Bomber and the Interceptor and others that appeared in the films, but there are a ton of more obscure ships from the comics and other sources, and today we're talking about all of them. The Twin Ion Engine, or TIE Fighter, was the backbone of the Imperial Starfighter Corps, introduced to service only 1 year after the creation of the Galactic Empire. Rebel pilots nicknamed the ships eyeballs after their round central cockpits. Wings were positioned on either side that doubled as solar panels to help power the starfighter. Designed and manufactured by Scianar Fleet Systems, they were relatively cheap and inexpensive to produce. They were faster and more maneuverable than most ships in the Rebel fleet, but were far more dangerous to fly. The Empire had no shortage of pilots or resources, so their basic model starfighter did not come equipped with a shield generator. On one hand, this made pilots more vulnerable, but they also had fewer systems to manage in flight, keeping them more focused on attack rather than defense. TIE fighters also did not have hyperdrives, meaning they had to be delivered to combat by their Star Destroyers, Imperial carrier ships, or Gazanti-class freighters. They were designed to strike in swarms that quickly overwhelmed enemy targets with their sheer numbers. Standard TIEs were also not equipped with any life support systems, requiring their pilots to wear pressurized suits while flying in space. That said, it was possible to survive in a cockpit without a suit, at least until the oxygen ran out. The TIE Advanced V-1 was an experimental TIE starfighter most frequently seen used by the Galactic Empire's Inquisitorius. It took design inspirations from another Scianar Fleet Systems ship, the Scimitar, which was famously used by Darth Maul 10 years before the outbreak of the Clone Wars. The TIE Advanced V-1 had S-foils in its wings that could fold around the cockpit, and the wings themselves were more durable, only outfitted with solar panels on the inside rather than both sides. This made the ship more reliant on fuel, with solar power used for weapons and other systems. The starfighter came equipped with 2 laser cannons, a hyperdrive, and even shields, setting it apart from most other TIE models. It was about 33% faster than a standard TIE, with a top speed of 1,600 kilometers per hour, and it was more than twice as expensive to manufacture. They only saw about 4 years of service within the Empire, and had seemingly been phased out of production by the time of the Battle of Yavin. The TIE Advanced X-1 was a prototype TIE model that served as the personal starfighter of Darth Vader. Similar to the Advanced V-1, the X-1 was outfitted with shields and a hyperdrive, making it much more formidable than a standard TIE fighter. The ship had the same top speed as a TIE fighter and a slightly faster acceleration. Vader personally modified his ship even further to accommodate his armor and enhance the deflector shields. It was capable of flight in space, in atmosphere, and even underwater. Vader was first seen in his TIE Advanced 4 years before the Battle of Yavin, shortly after the introduction of the Advanced V-1, taking on the entirety of Phoenix Squadron single-handedly. While the ship is usually attributed to being piloted solely by the Sith Lord, there were multiple TIE Advanced X-1s in use throughout the Empire, although they were a rare sight. The TIE Bomber was a far more heavily armed variant of TIE Fighter that traded speed for firepower. It was significantly slower than the rest of its TIE brethren, reaching a top speed of only 850 kilometers per hour. Its starboard pod held the cockpit and extra seats, while the port pod could be filled with all kinds of munitions, including mines, proton bombs, fusion bombs, thermal detonators, and more. The bomber also came equipped with 2 laser cannons, torpedo launchers, and missile launchers. Their payloads could be devastating, and they were the primary starfighter used in the Great Purge of Mandalore, which saw the destruction of several Mandalorian cities. The TIE boarding craft was nearly identical to the TIE bomber on the outside, but its weapons pod was swapped out for a passenger hold. It could carry up to 20 stormtroopers or other personnel to enemy ships or other combat zones, and was outfitted with shield generators to protect its passengers. During the Battle of Scarif, 2 of the ships were seen approaching the disabled rebel flagship, the Profundity, where they launched an assault and nearly retook the Death Star plans before they were taken to the Tantive 4. It still came decently equipped with 2 laser cannons, 2 heavy laser cannons, missile launchers, as well as a laser cutter that could create entry points onto enemy ships. The TIE Shuttle was another step in the evolution of the TIE Bomber and boarding craft. It served a similar purpose as the boarding craft, but was primarily used as transportation for Imperial officers between capital ships. It was less heavily armed than the boarding craft, and its passenger hold was more comfortable, with padded seats, refreshments, and even a refresher. The wings of the shuttle were inverted, giving it a more distinct shape when compared to most other TIE models. It was rarely seen throughout the Empire because it served a similar function as the Lambda-class shuttle. The TIE Interceptor was one of the fastest starfighters in the Imperial fleet, utilizing significantly faster acceleration to reach a top speed of 1,250 kilometers per hour. While they still did not come equipped with shields or a hyperdrive, they were more heavily armed with 2 chin-mounted laser cannons and 4 more on each of its pronged wingtips. An upgraded reactor also gave the ship more maneuverability than standard TIEs. The Interceptor prototype was developed about 5 years after the rise of the Empire, and their official, full-scale deployment happened over a decade later, about 3 years before the Battle of Yavin. They were chosen as an alternative to the TIE Advanced X-1, which was considered too expensive for mass production. In line with the standard TIE model, the Interceptor favored aggression over defense. Emperor Palpatine's Royal Guard were known to pilot red TIE Interceptors into battle, as seen during the Syndicate War and the battle at a Maxine station against Crimson Dawn. The TIE Striker was developed primarily for atmospheric flight, although it could function in the vacuum of space as well. In atmosphere, it was even faster than a TIE Interceptor with a maximum speed of 1,500 km per hour. It still had no shields and no hyperdrive, and it had half the wing area of an Interceptor, making it significantly lighter than other TIEs, and it was less expensive to produce. Its larger cockpit pod could optionally be filled with proton bombs for devastating ground attacks, or it was sometimes simply filled with cargo to be transported from ground to space. TIE Strikers were most prominently seen in use during the Battle of Scarif, but as the Galactic Civil War raged on and resources grew thin, they were used in space combat after the Battle of Endor, despite their diminished effectiveness. The TIE Reaper was a transport and support ship within the Imperial Navy. It was seemingly given its name for its connection to Death Troopers, which they delivered into combat during the Battle of Scarif. But they were useful in space combat as well, providing supplies, support, and even repairs to allied Imperial squadrons. The TIE Reaper was one of the few TIE models equipped with a shield generator, offering additional protection to up to 10 passengers that could fit in its hold. It was fairly slow for a TIE, with a max speed of 950 km per hour, and it was lightly armed with only 2 laser cannons. The TIE Brute, or Heavy TIE Fighter, was a more powerful variant of the standard TIE. It was easily distinguished by the extra pod that was equipped with additional laser cannons. It was created out of a desire to more heavily arm the standard TIE, but its structure couldn't support the larger laser cannons, and so the weapons pod was added. Internal differences also helped the Brute stand out from its counterparts. A droid system was installed to assist pilots, similar to how Rebel starfighters like X and Y wings contained astromech slots. The Brute also had life support systems, but still was not equipped with shields or hyperdrives. Even so, its extra weapons and stronger hull meant the starfighter was significantly slower than a standard TIE, losing about 1/3 of its top speed and nearly half its acceleration. The TIE Scout was a rarely seen TIE variant that was basically just a standard TIE fighter with a hyperdrive. It was primarily used for reconnaissance, but was most famously responsible for allowing Ben Solo to reach Exegol after his duel with Rey on Kef Bir. After she took his personal starfighter, he recovered a TIE Scout in the hangar of the ruins of the second Death Star and plotted a course for the Sith world. The Outland TIE Fighter was effectively a standard TIE fighter, but its wings had been updated so they could fold in half, allowing the ship to land more easily. Other than that, it was exactly the same as a regular TIE. It seems like it was developed to be a regular TIE fighter. It was based on unused concept art for The Force Awakens, and when it was brought into The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau described it in behind-the-scenes footage as a TIE fighter in its landing position, something fans had never seen before. But reference materials have since specified the Outland TIE as its own distinct variant. The TIE Avenger was designed to be more capable against Rebel starfighters, being faster, more heavily armed, and equipped with shields. A prototype was created at Sienar Test Facility 73. Its cockpit was technologically advanced, with unique flight controls, a holographic heads-up targeting display, and seats in the back for passengers. In addition to its 10 wing and chin-mounted laser cannons, it carried rotary blasters, missile launchers, and some sort of experimental heavy laser cannon. The TIE Avenger had a top speed of 1,300 km per hour, making it even faster than a TIE Interceptor, but they were significantly more expensive than even the TIE Defender, which was a somewhat comparable design of starfighter that was briefly produced on Lothal shortly before the Battle of Yavin. The Avenger's high price tag and the theft of its prototype might explain why it never entered mass production. The TIE Defender was an advanced TIE model that was developed to combat the more effective starfighters of the Rebel Alliance, which were built with pilot safety in mind. TIE Defenders were significantly faster than even the TIE Interceptor, reaching top speeds of 1,680 km per hour. They were equipped with 8 laser cannons and had shields and a hyperdrive. It was designed by Morgan Elsbeth, and its manufacture was spearheaded by Grand Admiral Thrawn in the factories of Lothal. But the Defender's many advantages meant it was 5 times as expensive to produce as a standard TIE fighter, and more than double the cost of a TIE Interceptor. Imperial leadership debated the merits of the TIE Defender program against the construction of the first Death Star, and the starfighter had significant support. But the destruction of Lothal's fuel depot and the disappearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn shortly after stalled the project, and its funding was diverted to the Death Star. Some TIE Defenders were given red or yellow markings to denote their status as TIE Defender Elites. They were even faster, reaching top speeds of 1,800 kilometers per hour and held even more missiles than a standard Defender. Of course, they were also more costly to make. The Autofighter was developed by the Galactic Empire following the Battle of Endor. In the final year of the Galactic Civil War, as resources dwindled, the Empire created simple droid starfighters to combat the Rebel Alliance. They were simply equipped with 2 laser cannons and were short-lived. The ships were hijacked by the planetary resistance of Rakana and were used to attack their own factories, destroying any chances of the Autofighter's more widespread use. In Star Wars Legends, these ships were called TIE drones. The Empire also used ground vehicles that shared some similarities with TIE starfighters. The Scuttler was a small walker seemingly constructed using the cockpit of a TIE fighter. These were built on Rakana alongside the Autofighter, and were likely made as resources became increasingly sparse for the Empire after the loss of the second Death Star. The TIE Crawler was a ground tank that used the cockpit of a TIE fighter suspended between 2 tank treads instead of solar arrays. They were not a common sight in the galaxy, but seemed to be able to tackle any kind of terrain, including piles of scrap. At least according to Star Wars Legends, they were slow-moving, reaching speeds of 90 kilometers per hour, and were lightly armed with 2 medium blaster cannons and 1 light turbo laser. Mining Guild TIE Fighters were used by the Mining Guild, as the name would imply. Throughout and after the Clone Wars, more and more corporations and guilds were absorbed by the Galactic Republic and then the Empire. Although the Mining Guild was technically a civilian operation that fell outside of the Imperial Navy, they were still provided with specialized TIE Fighters to protect their interests against pirates and rebel activity. They were given a distinct yellow color, and the frontmost solar panel on the wings was removed for better visibility and affordability. They were cheaper to produce than a standard TIE, but were significantly slower and less armed. Surprisingly, they were provided shielding, but that was likely so pilots could better protect the Empire's interests rather than protect the pilots themselves. Just like the Empire that came before it, the First Order used its own standard and variant versions of the TIE Fighter. The standard First Order TIE was finally given basic shields by default, offering more protection to their pilots. This makes some sense, because the First Order did not have the same access to personnel as a galaxy-wide empire. The shields added weight to the fighter, but thanks to advances in twin-ion engine technology, the standard First Order TIE did not have to sacrifice speed for safety and reach top speeds of 1,200 kilometers per hour, the same as a standard Imperial TIE. They were 33% more expensive than the Imperial models, but the First Order was funded by corrupt New Republic senators and received assistance from the Corporate Sector Authority, who preferred the leadership of fascism over democracy. The Special Forces TIE had significant upgrades from the standard model of First Order TIE Fighter. Most notably, it was equipped with a hyperdrive on top of its shield generators. Inside the cockpit were 2 seats for a pilot and a gunner who controlled 2 laser cannons, a heavy laser turret, and a warhead launcher that could fire missiles, mag pulses, and torpedoes. Despite the added equipment, armament, and people, it was still slightly faster than a standard TIE. The First Order had their own version of the Imperial Heavy TIE Fighter, or TIE Brute. They held an additional weapons pod and pivoting laser cannons just like the Imperial variant, but little else is known about them because they were rarely seen during the rise of the First Order. They were on Corellia defending a shipment of coaxium from the pirate Hondo Ohnaka and his smugglers. First Order TIE bombers were based on the Imperial TIE bomber design, but their wings were inverted and more closely matched the shape of the TIE Interceptor or TIE Avenger. In addition to their bombs, they came equipped with 4 laser cannons on their wingtips. They were seen subjugating worlds like Eos Prime and Tanuna after the destruction of Hosnian Prime and the First Order's takeover of the galaxy. Bombers were specifically used to punish planets friendly to the surviving resistance. The TIE Baron was a model of First Order TIE Interceptor that was painted red to indicate the skill of its pilot, Baron Elric von Reg. It came equipped with shields and a hyperdrive, which was a rarity for any TIE model to have both. It was armed with 4 laser cannons, mag pulses, and concussion missiles, and its top speed matched that of the Imperial TIE Interceptor. Von Reg personally assisted with the development of the starfighter, and he was the most famous pilot to sit in the cockpit of a TIE Baron, but they were not one of a kind. A handful of other First Order Barons were seen patrolling the skies in their Crimson starfighters. The TIE Echelon was not a starfighter, but an assault shuttle used by the First Order. It appeared to serve a similar function as the Imperial TIE Reaper, providing transportation of personnel as well as starfighter support. It could carry up to 3 passengers and was armed with 4 heavy laser cannons and 1 turret. A TIE Echelon was most famously seen on Batuu while Kylo Ren and the First Order searched for a rumored hidden resistance base on the planet. The TIE Silencer was a prototype starfighter flown by Kylo Ren against the Resistance. It was inspired by the Empire's TIE Interceptor, Advanced X-1, and Defender. It came equipped with a hyperdrive and shield generator and was armed with 4 laser cannons, concussion missiles, mag pulses, and proton torpedoes. It had no recorded top speed, but was described as fast and ferocious. Its controls were customized for Kylo Ren's specific use as a test pilot. The TIE Whisper was classified as a first-order interceptor, although it more closely resembled a Special Forces TIE fighter with standard-looking wings. Like that ship, the Whisper had 2 seats in its cockpit for 1 pilot and 1 gunner. It was given improved stealth systems and came equipped with a hyperdrive and hyperdrive tracking technology, allowing them to chase ships through hyperspace. In the final days of the First Order, Kylo Ren flew a modified TIE Whisper that more closely resembled a classic interceptor of the Empire. It came equipped with a heavy weapons turret and 5 laser cannons, whereas the standard Whisper only had 2. The TIE Dagger was seemingly the primary starfighter used by the Sith Eternal. It was distinguished thanks to its 2 triangle-shaped solar wings. They carried 2 laser cannons underneath the cockpit and 1 heavy laser cannon mounted on each wing. As far as we know, they only saw use in one battle, the Battle of Exegol, which saw the final defeat of the First Order and the Sith Eternal. Those are all the TIE Fighter variants that are strictly canon, having appeared on screen or on the page in Star Wars stories. But there are a few more that I want to list that have been brought up in technically canon reference materials, role-playing sourcebooks, or board games like X-Wing. Many of these are from Star Wars Legends, so that's where most of their information comes from. I would consider these all to be in more of a canon gray area until they appear in an actual story. Before the TIE Fighter was finalized, there was a prototype designed by Scion Fleet Systems. It took inspiration from the Eta II Actis-class light interceptors and the V-Wing starfighters used by the Republic during the Clone Wars. The initial design was far more frail, connecting the cockpit to the wings with thinner structural supports, meaning it could only handle flight in the vacuum of space and not within a planet's atmosphere. The finalized version was given sturdier connections. The TIE RC closely resembled the standard TIE Fighter and was another ship created for scouting and reconnaissance, but unlike the TIE Scout, the RC did not come equipped with a hyperdrive, greatly limiting its usefulness. The TIE SR served the same purpose as the TIE RC and TIE Scout, reconnaissance. Like the Scout, it had a hyperdrive, allowing it to undertake solo missions. It resembled a TIE Advanced with additional equipment installed above its cockpit. The TIE Lander was an even larger version of the TIE boarding craft. This model had 3 pods instead of 2, doubling its passenger compartments. In theory, this means a lander could carry up to 40 troopers at a time. The TIE GT has been listed in reference books as a predecessor of the TIE Bomber. The GT stood for ground targeting. In Legends, it more closely resembled a standard TIE fighter with a larger cockpit that carried a warhead launcher that could fire concussion missiles, proton torpedoes, mines, cluster bombs, or even propaganda leaflets. The TIE FC was created to provide targeting data for the TIE GT. The FC stood for Fire Control. It only had 1 laser cannon and was outfitted with several scanning sensors in place of additional weaponry. The TIE Aggressor first appeared in Star Wars Galaxies as a hybrid fighter and bomber. It came equipped with 2 laser cannons mounted on the front and rear of the ship, as well as a missile launcher. It wasn't really seen outside of experimental use. The TIE Punisher was another step in the evolution of the TIE Bomber and Lander, this variant having 4 weapons pods in addition to the cockpit. They could carry devastating amounts of concussion missiles, plasma torpedoes, flechette torpedoes, proton bombs, cluster mines, ion bombs, and more. The TIE Phantom was an experimental starfighter that came equipped with shields, a hyperdrive, and most importantly, a cloaking device. At least in the Legends video game Rebel Assault 2, several Phantoms were produced and a handful saw action against the Rebellion, but Rebel agents discovered the secret factory and destroyed it, along with the remaining TIE Phantoms held inside. The TIE Advanced X7 was a prototype predecessor to the TIE Defender in Star Wars Legends. It's been referenced in a supposedly canon magazine, but it directly contradicts the development of the Defender in Star Wars Rebels, so I wouldn't consider it to be actually canon. And that takes us to the end of the list of every TIE Fighter variant in Star Wars canon. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know which one is your favorite in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.